again for the umpteenth time. I've just finished watching the season 2 finale of Lioness. The things that our military personnel have to do on the ground is nothing short of remarkable, frightening. That is why they do what they do. These people are the best of us. Our military personnel are the best of us. Our Marines, Navy men, Delta Force, Army, Rangers, Air Force, they're the best of us. And I have nothing short of the utmost respect for them. I wished I had served. Just didn't work out that way, but I wished I did. So believe me when I say this, and I've said this before, whatever these veterans need when they come back home, no one better tell them that it's not in the budget. No one better tell them a fucking thing. No one better give them a runaround. And most of all, I don't think they should pay for anything that they need. They shouldn't pay for anything that they need. Not even a fucking copay. And they should get the best of everything. Which is why what Doge and this administration is doing to the VA, what they're doing to the veterans benefits, the dismantling of TRICARE that they're doing right now, is nothing short of criminal. And it's a huge sign of disrespect to the men and women that put life and limb on the line for this country without second thought. And it's fucked up that people who use their wealth and connections and power to escape military service, or who never served, or who were so fucked up when they tried to serve that they were washed out really quickly. It's so fucked up that they're now in charge. And are basically harming the life prospects of people who would risk so much for our country. Those of you who are all, excited, you can't, all you can think about, them stimmies are back. Those stimmies, if they ever materialize, right? It's not real savings. Those stimmies are covered in veterans' blood. Seriously, man, FDT for fucking ever.
Earlier today, a VA whistleblower sent me this. This is Donald Trump and Elon Musk's plan to destroy the Department of Veterans Affairs, the healthcare and benefits system that millions of veterans depend on. How are they going to do that? They're going to work with their little crony, VA Secretary Doug Collins, and they're going to fire 83,000 people who work at the VA. As you might know, about 1/3 of all federal employees are veterans. So we're talking about an increase in jobless veterans by tens of thousands from this cut alone. And we're just talking about VA employees, not to mention that some of these people help veterans get jobs. Others are doctors and nurses. Others process claims and benefits. Now, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs keeps coming and creating these cute online videos to talk about how he's changing things and shaking things up, and veterans shouldn't expect the status quo. And to be honest, I don't think he has any idea what's in this memorandum. It's not worth the paper it's written on. So this is the guy, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins. And apparently, he's not busy enough because Donald Trump tried to give him 2 additional full-time jobs to run the Office of Special Counsel and to run the Office of Government Ethics. And maybe that's true. Maybe he's not a full-time Secretary of Veterans Affairs because he's got Elon Musk doing his hiring and firing decisions for him. Nobody ever voted for this guy. This billionaire's only interest is stripping veterans and Americans of earned benefits. His goal isn't just to enrich himself through government contracts. And he's not just trying to eliminate government contracts for his competition. Elon Musk and his doggy boys are going into the VA and canceling contracts for veteran small businesses for things like suicide prevention and helping veterans end homelessness problems. This guy is cutting cancer research for veterans. The Secretary of Veterans Affairs should be ashamed of himself. A Hitler-saluting Elon Musk running the VA for him? No, for veterans, this is not acceptable. And this guy, Donald Trump, another billionaire who wants nothing more than to lower his and his friends' taxes on the back of veterans who served this country. He goes around and says how he's so great for veterans and you can't build a strong VA and gut it at the same time. This guy is sending his cronies out to lie for him and to say that by removing services from the VA, they're going to provide more services at the VA. Look, this guy keeps going around and saying that veterans love him. That couldn't be further from the truth. Look, if you're pissed off about what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Secretary of Veterans Affairs Doug Collins are doing to you and your healthcare system, how they're trying to cut veterans' benefits and make it so that we're stuck in waiting lines all the time, if you're disgusted by the fact that Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Doug Collins want the new VA motto to be delay, deny, and hope that they die, do me a favor and post a video of you making confetti out of these guys. And post a video where you describe how these cuts are going to affect your life. And show Donald Trump what you think of him.
They don't care about veterans. The Trump administration literally just told the VA that they can't use their own lawyers. If there is a problem with a veteran's benefits or if a veteran needs assistance, legal assistance, they are to go to a political appointee for advice, not the VA lawyers. But why the hell would they do that? Because Trump is literally trying to get rid of every lawyer that could possibly stand up to him. I saw this content this girl made last night where I guess she's a corporate lawyer, and she just quit her job because her law firm is kowtowing to Donald Trump after saying they would stand up to him. And apparently this is a thing Donald Trump is doing across the legal industry as a whole. He's threatening lawyers and law firms, big law firms, in order to get them to do pro bono work for him and not take cases against him and his administration. This is North Korea. Anyway, if you made it this far, thank you much. My name is Kyle Gauk. I am running for Congress in the 2nd District of Connecticut. Please check out my pinned videos. Please follow along for more. Please comment, share, like, and repost. If you're not already, please go follow me on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. And if you like what I do, you like what I stand for, you like where I'm going, if you like my campaign, please feel free to donate. It's grassroots. This is powered by the people, for the people, which is you. So if you have $1, 50 cents, $10, whatever it is, every little bit helps, every dime. So the link is in my bio for every one of the profiles. If you made it this far, again, thank you. I love you, and we'll talk soon. I definitely need to shave.
I'm a veteran. I was in the Army for about 6 years, and the veteran community is very small. I think it's something like 2% of the population actually serves in the United States Army or military. And the female population of that is even smaller, like way smaller. So the group of women veterans in the US are quite small. And the veteran community is really awesome. I get to go to the VA for a lot of my health care because of some injuries that I had while I was in the military, and the providers are really amazing. The system's horrible. It takes a very long time to talk to anybody on the phone, but the people who work there are amazing. Even me, who is not, critically wounded or affected so badly by an injury that I, can't work or do anything, I'm still feeling the effects of the firing of VA healthcare workers or people who work in the VA who support healthcare workers. And for example, just the other day, I went to go get my blood drawn, which normally in the past getting my blood drawn would take 20-30 minutes tops. And I was there for almost 2 hours because they only had one person available to draw blood the entire day. And I was in the most packed waiting room I have ever been in at the VA. And already the VA is so difficult. There's just not enough people who work there. And there's so many veterans who need healthcare and who need help. And the fact that people are being fired and they're reducing that amount and making it more difficult for veterans to get the care that they need is insanely heartbreaking. And being somebody seeing it firsthand and not just hearing about it is even worse. And I'm somebody who does rely on the VA for medication that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. I'm chronically ill, and I am really afraid that that's going to go away. And I'm even more afraid for people who have worse conditions than I do or who need even more care than I do. And I just want you to know people are really affected by this. Veterans are not just some distant, far away community that you don't really hear about. It's so many regular, everyday people who are veterans who rely on the VA healthcare system. And it's getting really, really bad. I want to make this video because I just want to send a reminder out there that there are things that we can do to change what's happening. Call your representatives, post about it online, share about it online, talk to your friends about it. Don't let this small community fall to the wayside. I know a lot of them voted for this unknowingly, not realizing or maybe realizing that it would affect them, but they still put their life on the line for this country, and they don't deserve to be thrown in the trash the way that
This
they are.
administration's attack on our veterans continues with the end of a program that helped them keep their homes. On May 1st, the Department of Veterans Affairs will stop its mortgage rescue plan called VASP, VASP. The program has helped over 17,000 veterans keep their homes by buying their unpaid loans and lowering interest rates to just 2.5%, which is way less than today's 6% rate. There was concern about fraud because the program used taxpayer money the wrong way, they said, and they were worried people might skip payments on purpose to get better deals. And I said, who the F cares? These veterans put their lives on the line, so we didn't have to. Give our vets the world, man. Take care of them. I don't get why our lawmakers continually mess with veterans and our Native and Black brothers and sisters. It's like they purposely create laws to keep them down, and it's friggin' wrong. I think it's time to create laws that keep these government stooges down. This COVID was a lifeline to them, especially after COVID help ended and interest rates shot up. But the VA says it isn't set up to run a loan company, so it's shutting VASP down. Lawmakers now want to build a new plan to help veterans delay payments without losing their homes. And let me guess, they want to privatize it, right? So billionaires can run it. Right now, veterans who sign up before May 1st can still get help. But after that, the door closes and they're SOL. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with more stuff to share.
Then why did the Democrats vote against fully funding the VA? They didn't, but, you're in the comment section telling everybody how you always have to hand the information to Democrats. They can't do their own research. That's always the excuse for MAGA when they can't do research and prove the claims that they say. So I did it for you. And of course, you're dead wrong. And this comes from House.gov, so you can't say it's fake. Anyway, House Democrats highlight how Republican funding bill fails to honor our commitment to veterans. This bill drastically underfunds by $14.7 billion the Toxic Exposure Fund, created with bipartisan support for the PAC Act to ensure veterans exposed to Agent Orange burn pits and other toxic substances will always be cared for. Underfunds other veterans' medical care needs by allowing the transfer of $4.5 billion in medical care funding to areas outside of healthcare. Cuts funding for crucial military construction. The bill backtracks on our promises to our service members and their families by cutting military construction by over $1.3 billion compared to the current level, built on a framework that fails to treat veterans' medical care as its own funding category, thereby jeopardizing veterans' health care. Before the PACT Act, though, there was 5 remarkable times Republicans voted against veterans, and here they are. In July of 2022, 11 Senate Republicans, including Mitt Romney and Rand Paul, voted against a bipartisan measure, the PACT Act, that is designed to help veterans who were exposed to toxic chemicals while deployed abroad. In 2017, former President Donald Trump and congressional Republican leaders put forth budget proposals that would have done great damage to the economic security of veterans and their families, all to pay for tax cuts for millionaires and corporations. Here are 2 other blogs. You can click on those if you go to this article. It's on onceasoldier.org. That lists many more times when Trump, who called veterans suckers and losers, treated them with disdain. In 2015, the GOP-controlled Senate voted down a bill to provide $1 billion over 5 years to provide jobs for unemployed veterans. The bill was fully funded and would not have added any money to the deficit. In 2014, Senate Republicans shot down one of the largest pieces of veterans legislation in recent history, the Comprehensive Veterans Health Benefits and Military Retirement Pay Restoration Act of 2014 would have repealed the military retiree cost of living adjustment reduction and would have protected veteran pensions and educational payments from future congressional budget fights. It would have also authorized the construction of more than 20 community-based outpatient clinics to serve veterans in rural and remote areas. In 2011, Republican Paul Ryan and the House of Representatives attempted to end VA healthcare benefits for disabled veterans who are priority 7 and 8. This means veterans with conditions not recognized by the VA, like certain diseases from Agent Orange exposure, would have to pay for healthcare out of pocket if they didn't have another service connection disability. Or how about another one from House.gov? House Republican funding bill shortchanges veterans and jeopardizes their care. Or how about when Lauren Boebert defended her vote against veteran health benefits by saying that she didn't want to spend $600 billion forever? Like, because she's going to live forever, you know. Or how about our Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and how he voted on military issues? On veterans issues last year, he voted against the PACT Act, considered the biggest increase of veterans benefits in a generation, that expanded benefits for those exposed to toxic substances during military service. He voted against a year-end package of smaller veterans and military family measures last year. Among other provisions, the bill mandated that states recognize service members and spouses' valid professional licenses from other states and ensured veterans won't lose GI benefits if schools have to close in a future emergency like they did for COVID-19. I mean, but you know, Democrats are the problem, right? I would now like you to make a video in response proving your claim. Since, you know, I did all the research for you, like you say Republicans do for Democrats. By the way, I'm a psychology student, and I work in a research lab, so have fun!
What I find pretty interesting about a bunch of veterans being fired at the VA is it's not what Vladimir Putin would have done. Having hundreds of thousands of idle veterans drifting around, nursing their wounds and their grievances, is probably a very bad idea. So what he's done is he's pushed this program called Time of Heroes, that's the name in Russian, taking these veterans and spreading them all across Russia, giving them gainful employment in like district government, while also putting them in a situation where he can get compromising information on them and prevent them from developing networks with other veterans. In light of intelligence failures, which will continue, and signal chats, which were clearly the habit, I'm surprised that Donald and this administration aren't doing something similar.
Transition to your top political headlines. It takes us out to Detroit. We're learning the widespread layoffs by the Trump administration now hitting veterans. More than 80,000 jobs expected to be cut as the department plans to reorganize. Veterans across the nation concerned about how it may impact their benefits. Fox 2 Detroit's Camille Amiri joining us live this morning with the very latest on this story. Camille, good morning.
Good morning to you. Yeah, we're outside the John D. Dingle VA Medical Center here in Detroit, where, of course, a lot of people are worried, employees worried, and veterans who rely on services here, who come here every day and who are also obviously staying here right now. Let's take a look at some video. We're talking about protests that have been happening across the country where veterans and, of course, employees of the VA administration have been very upset and worried because when you talk about 80,000 jobs, that's taking numbers back to the 2019 staffing levels where Biden, when he took office, he bumped things up. So, of course, we saw an increase in care as well for so many veterans who were coming back from overseas or, of course, obviously who have served in the past. Right now, it's unclear as to how many Veteran Administration employees are affected here in Detroit, as well as across the country, because we're talking about tens of thousands, but we're also talking about so many VA medical centers across the country that serve veterans. But a lot of fear and a lot of worry about the unknown. Take a listen.
We finally got that approved, and people are coming forward now to get their benefits, and now all those claims that are sitting at the region level to be examined and approved are all frozen because of this.
Just creating a great deal of stress and demoralization and feeling any day that they don't know what's going to happen to them.
People can earn more in the private sector. We were always struggling against that when it came to hiring primary care providers. And so you always feel like you don't have enough staff.
So this is twofold, right? Because we're talking about the veterans who rely on so many services here at VA centers across the country, but we're also talking about all these employees, as you heard in those sound bites, where people are just so unsure as whether or not they're going to have a job as these cuts start to roll over. So a lot to follow on this one. Of course, we'll keep you posted, and the Trump administration says that nothing will change as far as benefits. They say that there's just too much bureaucracy, too much red tape, and too much bloat is the word that the administration is using. So, of course, a big story.
To Iraq in 2005, and by 2007, I had tried to take my life. The VA is the reason why I'm alive today. And now I am getting dozens of VA whistleblowers reaching out to me, telling me the most insane shit that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing to the VA and its patients. One of these whistleblowers works exclusively with paralyzed veterans. And these paralyzed veterans are so petrified that they are breaking down in front of her because they know what happens to their care. They're among the most vulnerable veterans in our country. And this week, Elon Musk and the Doggy Boys sent out an email VA-wide to every manager and gave them something like 12 hours to fill out a form with hundreds, if not thousands of cells. So one example, a VA whistleblower just reached out to me saying that they have 64 subordinates. Each of these subordinates, they had to report on what they do and justify their job. We're talking about physicians. We're talking about nurses. We're not talking about pencil pushers, right? The VA is being decimated. Not just in terms of they're firing a lot of people, but people are quitting en masse because, frankly, you don't get paid a lot at the VA. If you're a doctor, you have a cap. You cannot be paid a competitive rate. Doctors, nurses, other people who work for the VA, and for the federal government, for that matter, they accept lower salaries because they believe in service to our nation above all else. I know that things like the cuts to the VA crisis line have gotten a lot of attention. And trust me, as a survivor of a suicide attempt, I believe that is super important. But the VA crisis line is like a teeny tiny piece of the VA. And it is far from the only essential service, the only life-saving service. There are emergency room doctors who work 12-hour shifts and then come to their desk and find an email from some 22-year-old punk kid hired by Elon Musk that demands of a physician who hasn't slept in a day to fill out thousands of cells in a spreadsheet to justify the jobs of everyone that they supervise. Do you know anybody who's ever gotten a transplant? You know how transplant medicine became a thing? the Department of Veterans Affairs. There are doctors performing things like liver transplants, and then they're coming to their fucking desk and finding an email from fucking Elon Musk saying that they have to justify their own job and the job of everyone that they supervise. And they're given some artificial fucking deadline, like you have to do this in 12 hours or else everybody gets fired. So imagine being in fucking surgery and coming to this fucking email, and now it's on your fucking responsibility. It's on your fucking head. If you don't do this, you lose all of your staff. Not only are the patients fucked, but those individuals, a third of whom are fucking veterans themselves, these subordinates that they're responsible are fucked. Look, I was just a sergeant in the fucking army. I was just a forward observer running with an infantry battalion when I deployed to Iraq. That was 1 year of like really stressful shit being at war, in addition to the rest of my time in the military. It's really fucking stressful being a fucking emergency room doctor, seeing people fucking die on a regular basis. Elon Musk is sending people who are constantly experiencing fucking trauma emails trying to fucking trigger them. These are the same doctors who keep me and my fucking friends alive. This is not about efficiency. This is not about fraud, waste, and abuse. This is about cruelty. This is about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and their fucking minions trying to hurt people. And they are. They're doing it. They're fucking hurting millions of veterans, millions of federal employees throughout all of the departments. You know what? Most people who join the fucking military, we don't like bullies. Elon Musk thinks he's real fucking tough, real fucking powerful. Listen, I can understand if people want to dismiss my fucking opinion because I didn't vote for Donald Trump. But there's there's millions of fucking veterans who voted for Donald Trump, who fucking love that guy. You know what? And a lot of them are fucking unhinged. You know what's going to happen when these fucking veterans who've been wearing a red hot for 10 years now lose their fucking healthcare because their doctors got fucking fired because they couldn't fill out a spreadsheet on a fucking Friday fast enough? You think those red hat fucking maniac veterans aren't going to fucking break out of the cult and lose their goddamn minds? I'll tell you, man, look, I'm a fucking liberal. I'm one of those peace and love guys. One deployment to war was enough for me. I don't need that shit anymore. But there's an entire fucking bro culture of veterans who live on testosterone and anger and strength and violence. And it's not just veterans like me getting pissed off. It's going to be those guys too. Look, I'm just going to keep using my platform. I'm just going to be telling people what's happening. I'm going to give VA whistleblowers a voice. And occasionally, my videos will make it into MAGA land so that they can understand, those veterans can understand why their doctors are suddenly fucking quitting or getting fired en masse. Why they're told the healthcare that they've been getting for years, maybe decades, is done. It's over. And when VA employees, 1/3 of whom are veterans, start offing themselves because of the stress of Donald Trump and Elon Musk's fucking sabotage, and veterans around the country start dropping like flies because they don't have access to the necessary life-saving healthcare, I'll tell you, man, those fucking MAGA-loving vets, they're gonna fucking lose it. And they're not gonna be mad at me. They're not gonna be mad at like AOC and Bernie Sanders and all of the Democrats who keep talking about how we need to save the VA. They're gonna be mad at the wet thumb for a fucking Secretary of Veterans Affairs. They're gonna be mad at Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all the little fucking doggy boys. My answer to people causing problems and violating the law is I want them to see justice in a court of law. That's what I want for Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and all of the doggy boys. It's Donald Trump's fans. They're the ones who don't believe in that kind of justice. I want these guys to go to court. It's when Donald Trump's veterans start getting hurt, they're not going to be filing lawsuits like I did against Doggy and Musk and the Trump-Musk administration. They're not going to be working their problems through the courts like I am right now. Those motherfuckers are all about simple solutions to complex problems. And I am not advocating in favor for that. I am just saying these are the way things are.